The sound of sandpaper against wood at 2 in the morning is therapeutic, like meditation for men who've forgotten how to pray. I'm hunched over my workbench in the garage, working on a door that's been warped beyond repair. Much like my marriage, come to think of it. The irony isn't lost on me that I'm trying to fix something that's fundamentally broken while my wife sleeps soundly upstairs, probably dreaming of her next real estate conquest. Or her next conquest, period. The house creaks above me, and I hear voices. Paige's voice, sharp and accusatory, cuts through the silence like a blade. My 17-year-old daughter has never been one to whisper when she's angry, and tonight she's furious. "Mom, I saw Brandon's car here again yesterday." Paige's voice carries down through the heating vents. "You think I'm stupid? You think Dad's stupid?" I set down the sandpaper and listen. This is better than cable television. "Paige, honey, Brandon is helping me with some property listings. He works at the dealership and knows about cars. Your father asked me to have someone look at the Honda." Lisa's voice is smooth as silk, practiced. She's been perfecting this tone for months. "That's such bullshit, Mom. He was here for 3 hours. What kind of car inspection takes 3 hours? Watch your language, young lady. And lower your voice. Your father is sleeping. No, your father is wide awake in the garage, listening to his daughter call out his wife's lies while he pretends to sand a door that's destined for the trash pile. The nuclear family, now with extra fallout. Whatever, Mom. Just whatever. But I'm not going to lie for you anymore." Footsteps stomp across the floor above, and a door slams. Paige has always been dramatic, but she's also observant. Too observant for her own good, and apparently too observant for Lisa's comfort. I return to my sanding, but my mind is racing. Brandon Morrison, 28 years old, personal trainer turned car salesman, with muscles that probably cost more in protein powder than I make in a month. He drives a black Dodge Charger that rumbles like thunder when he pulls into my driveway. The garage door to the house opens, and Lisa appears in her silk pajamas, the ones I bought her for Christmas. She looks concerned, which is her default expression when she's been caught in a lie. "Victor, what are you doing up so late?" "Couldn't sleep. Thought I'd work on this door." I don't look up from my sanding. "Heard some voices upstairs." "Everything okay?" "Oh, you know Paige. Teenage drama. She's upset about something at school." Lisa steps closer, and I catch a whiff of her perfume. The expensive stuff. The stuff she only wears for special occasions. Or special people. Must have been some school day. She seemed pretty worked up about Brandon Morrison. I finally look up, meeting her eyes. Funny thing, I thought I saw his car here yesterday, too. Lisa's smile doesn't waver, but something flickers behind her eyes. "He's been helping me with a client who's looking for a specific type of vehicle. You know how the real estate business works. It's all about connections." "Right, connections." I nod slowly. "Well, I should probably get some sleep. Big day tomorrow." "What's tomorrow?" "Oh, just some business stuff. Nothing important." Lisa kisses my forehead, a gesture that once meant everything and now feels like a pat you'd give a faithful dog, and heads back inside. I wait until I hear her footsteps on the stairs before I walk over to her BMW parked in the garage. Her gym bag is in the back seat. Lisa joined CrossFit 6 months ago, right around the time Brandon started showing up in our lives. Coincidence, I'm sure. I unzips the bag, expecting to find workout clothes and protein bars. Instead, I find a small black phone I've never seen before. A burner phone, like something out of a crime drama. My hands shake slightly as I power it on. The text messages tell a story that would make a romance novelist blush. Photos that would make a sailor blush. Hotel receipts that make my bank account balance suddenly make sense. She's been funding these little adventures with our joint savings. I take photos of everything with my own phone, my finger trembling slightly as I capture each piece of evidence. 23 years of marriage, reduced to screenshots and hotel receipts. The front door opens, and I quickly power off the burner phone, shoving it back into the gym bag. Lisa's heels click across the kitchen floor. "Victor?" "I forgot to mention, I have a late showing tomorrow. Might not be home until after 9. "No problem," I call back. "I'll probably grab dinner with Jean anyway." But I won't be having dinner with Jean. I'll be following my wife to whatever hotel or apartment or back seat she's chosen for tomorrow's performance. The game is on now, and Lisa has no idea that her husband, the blue-collar guy she's been underestimating for years, is finally ready to play. I return to my sanding, but the door looks different now. Still warped, still broken, but somehow the damage seems more honest than the pristine facade of my marriage. The next evening, I'm parked across from Morrison Motors, watching through binoculars I borrowed from Jean. Lisa's BMW is in the lot, parked next to Brandon's Charger. The dealership closed an hour ago, but there are lights on in the back office. I wait. Patience is something you learn when you've spent 20 years running a small construction business. You learn to wait for permits, wait for materials, wait for clients to pay their bills. You learn that the best time to act is when your target thinks they're safe. After 45 minutes, Lisa and Brandon emerge from the building. They're not holding hands, they're smarter than that, but their body language tells the whole story. The way she touches his arm, the way he opens her car door, the way they stand just a little too close for business associates. They drive off in separate directions, but I know they're heading to the same destination. I've done my homework. The Riverside Inn, room 237, every Tuesday and Thursday for the past month. Lisa thinks she's being clever with her late showings, but she's been using the same excuse and the same schedule like clockwork. I don't follow them. I don't need to see what happens next. The photos on the burner phone have already painted that picture in vivid detail. Instead, I walk across the parking lot to Brandon's precious Charger. The car is his pride and joy. Custom paint job, chrome rims, sound system that probably cost more than my truck. He posts pictures of it on social media constantly, flexing next to it like it's a trophy wife. I pull out my keys and consider my options. I could slash his tires, but that's amateur hour. I could break his windows, but that's too obvious. Instead, I drag my house key along the driver's side door, carving 7 letters deep into the black paint. Cheater. It's juvenile, I know. It's exactly the kind of thing Lisa would expect from her emotionally unstable husband. But sometimes, the direct approach is the most satisfying. I'm halfway back to my truck when I notice the curtain twitching in the apartment window across the street. Mrs. Crane, the neighborhood's unofficial surveillance system, is watching from her living room. She's got her phone out, probably recording everything. Perfect. The next morning, I'm eating breakfast and reading the newspaper when Lisa's phone buzzes with a text message. She glances at it, and her face goes pale. "Everything okay, honey?" I ask, not looking up from the sports section. "Fine. Just work stuff." But her voice is tight, and she keeps staring at her phone. I can guess what she's looking at. Mrs. Crane has never been shy about sharing neighborhood gossip, and a video of someone vandalizing Brandon's car would be prime material for the local Facebook groups. Lisa sets down her coffee cup and fixes me with a stare that could freeze lava. "Victor, is there anything you want to confess to me? Anything at all?" I fold my newspaper carefully, meeting her gaze with what I hope is innocent confusion. Confess? That's an interesting word choice. Are we in church, or are we having breakfast? Don't play games with me. Games? I stand up, grabbing my coffee mug and truck keys. "Lisa, I don't know what's got you worked up, but I've got 3 job sites to visit today. Some of us have actual work to do." As I head for the door, I can feel her eyes burning holes in my back. The old Victor would have crumbled under that stare, would have apologized for crimes he didn't commit just to keep the peace. But the old Victor didn't know about the burner phone, the hotel receipts, or the 23 years of marriage that his wife was auctioning off to the highest bidder. The new Victor is just getting started. Jean's bar, the Anchor, smells like stale beer and broken dreams, which makes it the perfect place to discuss my imploding marriage. Jean himself is behind the bar, polishing glasses with the methodical precision of a man who spent 30 years in law enforcement and another 10 serving drinks to people with problems. "So let me get this straight," Jean says, setting down a whiskey in front of me. "Your wife is screwing the car salesman, your daughter knows about it, and you keyed his car like some teenage punk." "That's a very reductive summary of a complex situation," I reply, taking a sip, "but essentially accurate. And now what? You're going to drink yourself into a stupor and hope it all goes away?" "I'm going to drink myself into a stupor and plan my next move. There's a difference." Jean shakes his head. He's built like a refrigerator with a gray mustache, and his disapproval carries the weight of 3 decades of dealing with domestic disputes. "Victor, I've seen this movie before. It doesn't end well for anybody." "Maybe not, but it's going to be entertaining as hell." The truth is, the past week has been surreal. Lisa's behavior has shifted from guilty defensive to outright cold. She stopped pretending to care about my day, stopped asking about my business, stopped making any effort to maintain the illusion of our marriage. It's like she's already moved out emotionally and is just waiting for the paperwork to catch up. Meanwhile, Paige has thrown herself into social media with the dedication of a war correspondent. Her TikTok account has become a passive-aggressive documentary of our family's dysfunction. Yesterday's post was a video of our empty dinner table with the caption, "When your family is too busy with their drama to actually be a family." It got 12,000 views. "The kid's got a point," Gene says when I tell him about it. "When's the last time you three sat down for a meal together?" "I don't know. Sometime before the Cretaceous period." I finish my whiskey and signal for another. "But that's not my fault. I'm not the one sneaking around with a steroid enthusiast." "No, but you're the one sitting in a bar at 3 in the afternoon instead of trying to fix your marriage. You can't fix something that was sabotaged from the inside, Gene. And besides, I tried the mature approach for 23 years. Time to try something else." Gene leans across the bar, lowering his voice. "What exactly are you planning, Victor?" "Nothing illegal. Nothing that would get you in trouble for knowing about it. Just evening the playing field." The bar door opens and Brandon Morrison walks in like he owns the place. He's wearing a tight polo shirt that shows off his gym-sculpted physique and jeans that probably cost more than my monthly truck payment. He scans the room, spots me, and his face hardens. "Well, well," I murmur to Gene. "Looks like the entertainment is coming to us." Brandon approaches the bar with the swagger of a man who's used to getting his way through intimidation. He's bigger than me, younger than me, and probably stronger than me. But I've got 20 years of construction work in my hands and a lifetime of pent-up frustration in my heart. "You Victor Kellerman?" he asks, though he clearly knows the answer. "Depends on who's asking. The guy whose car you vandalized, you psycho." Gene straightens up behind the bar, his ex-cop instincts kicking in. "Gentlemen, let's keep this civil." "Civil?" Brandon laughs, but there's no humor in it. "This maniac keyed my car. That's $1,000 in damage." "Prove it," I say calmly, taking another sip of whiskey. "I've got video footage." "Then call the police. File a report. Do whatever you need to do." I turn to face him fully. "But while you're at it, maybe explain to them what you were doing at my house 3 times last week?" Brandon's confident expression flickers for just a moment. "I was there on business." "Right. Business. Is that what we're calling it now?" The bar has gone quiet. The few other patrons are watching our exchange with the fascination of people witnessing a car accident in slow motion. Brandon steps closer, trying to use his size to intimidate me. "Listen, old man." "Old man?" I stand up, and while I'm not as tall as Brandon, I've got the kind of wiry strength that comes from decades of physical labor. "That's interesting. Because this old man is married to the woman you've been screwing in hotel rooms across town." The words hang in the air like smoke. Brandon's face goes red, then pale, then red again. Behind the bar, Gene reaches for something under the counter. Probably the baseball bat he keeps for situations exactly like this. "You don't know what you're talking about," Brandon says, but his voice lacks conviction. "Room 237 at the Riverside Inn, Tuesdays and Thursdays. You pay cash, she brings the wine. Should I go on?" Brandon takes a step back, his bravado crumbling. "Look, man, I didn't know you knew, didn't know I knew, or didn't care that I knew." I finish my whiskey and set the glass down gently. "Here's what's going to happen, Brandon. You're going to walk out of here, get in your scratched-up car, and drive away. And if I see you anywhere near my house, my wife, or my family again, we're going to have a very different kind of conversation." "You threatening me?" "I'm explaining the situation to you. There's a difference." For a moment, I think Brandon might actually throw a punch. His hands clench into fists, his jaw tightens, and I can see him calculating his chances. But something in my expression must convince him that this isn't a fight he wants to have, because he takes another step back. "This isn't over," he says, which is exactly the kind of thing people say when something is definitely over. "Yes, it is," I reply. "You just don't know it yet." Brandon storms out of the bar, and the other patrons return to their drinks and conversations. Gene pours himself a whiskey and shakes his head. "That was either very smart or very stupid," he says. "Probably both. But it felt good. Feeling good and being smart are 2 different things, Victor. That boy is going to go straight to Lisa and tell her everything. I'm counting on it." Gene stares at me for a long moment. "You've changed, you know that? The Victor I knew 6 months ago would have never confronted that kid." The Victor you knew 6 months ago didn't know his wife was cheating on him with a walking protein shake advertisement. So what's the plan now? I pull out my phone and show Gene the screenshots I took from Lisa's burner phone. His eyebrows rise as he scrolls through the messages. Jesus, Victor, this is explicit. It's also evidence. And leverage. What are you going to do with it? I haven't decided yet, but I've got some ideas brewing. That evening, I arrive home to find Lisa waiting for me in the living room. She's changed out of her work clothes into jeans and a sweater, her serious conversation outfit. Paige is nowhere to be seen, probably hiding in her room and live streaming the family drama to her followers. We need to talk, Lisa says without preamble. Do we? Because I was thinking about watching the game. Brandon called me today. He said you threatened him. I sit down in my recliner, grabbing the remote control. Brandon says a lot of things. Most of them aren't worth repeating in polite company. He said you accused him of having an affair with me. Did I? Huh. Must have been the whiskey talking. Lisa stands up, pacing in front of the television. This has to stop, Victor. Your behavior is becoming erratic. Paige is worried about you. I'm worried about you. Worried about me? That's touching. When's the last time you were worried about me, Lisa? Was it before or after you started fucking the car salesman? The words come out harsher than I intended, but I don't regret them. Lisa stops pacing, her face going pale. How dare you? How dare I what? How dare I notice that my wife has been sneaking around for months? How dare I pay attention to the hotel charges on our credit card statements? How dare I wonder why my marriage feels like a business arrangement where I'm the only one showing up for work? You're being paranoid. Am I? I pull out my phone, opening one of the screenshots from her burner phone. Then explain this. Lisa's eyes widen as she recognizes her own words on the screen. For a moment, she looks like she might deny it, might try to claim the messages are fake or taken out of context. But the evidence is too clear, too explicit, too damning. Instead, she does something I don't expect. She laughs. Well, she says, sitting back down on the couch, I guess we're done pretending. The casual way she says it, like she's discussing the weather or what to have for dinner, hits me harder than any denial or excuse could have. This isn't a woman who's been caught in a moment of weakness. This is a woman who's been planning her exit strategy. How long? I ask. Does it matter? It matters to me. Lisa shrugs. 6 months, maybe 7. Why? Why do you think, Victor? Look around. Look at this house. Look at your life. Look at yourself. When's the last time you took me somewhere nice? When's the last time you bought me something that wasn't practical? When's the last time you made me feel like a woman instead of a business partner? So this is my fault? It's nobody's fault. It's just what happened. She stands up again, smoothing down her sweater. I'll be staying at Darla's tonight. We can discuss the details tomorrow. What details? The divorce, Victor. The custody arrangement, the division of assets, the details of ending a marriage that's been over for years. She heads toward the stairs, probably to pack a bag. I sit in my recliner, staring at the blank television screen, trying to process what just happened. 23 years of marriage, ended with a shrug and a casual comment about staying at her friend's house. From upstairs, I hear Paige's door open and her voice, sharp with anger. Mom, are you seriously leaving? Are you seriously going to him? Paige, honey, this is between your father and me. No, it's not. It's between all of us. This is our family. Sometimes families change, sweetheart. Sometimes people grow apart. That's such bullshit. You didn't grow apart. You cheated. A door slams, and I hear Lisa's footsteps on the stairs. She appears in the living room with an overnight bag, looking composed and determined. I'll call you tomorrow, she says. Don't bother. I'll call you when I'm ready to talk. Lisa pauses at the front door. Victor, I know you're angry, but try to remember that we're still Paige's parents. We still have to work together for her sake. You should have thought about that before you started working with Brandon. She leaves without another word, and I'm alone in the house with my daughter, who's probably uploading the whole confrontation to TikTok as we speak. I pour myself a whiskey, the good stuff, the bottle we were saving for special occasions, and raise it in a toast to the empty room. To new beginnings, I say aloud. and to making sure they're worth the ending. The thing about being underestimated your entire life is that people forget you're capable of learning new tricks. Lisa thinks she's married to a simple construction worker who will roll over and accept whatever scraps she throws his way. She's about to discover that her simple construction worker has been paying attention for 23 years. Gene's ex-cop connections come in handy when you need to learn about digital surveillance on short notice. Nothing illegal, he assures me. Just basic computer skills that any divorced guy should know in the 21st century. How to track spending. How to monitor social media. How to recover deleted files from shared computers. You sure you want to go down this road? Gene asks as he shows me how to access Lisa's laptop. She left it behind in her rush to move in with Darla, and the password is Paige's birthday. Not exactly Fort Knox level security. She fired the first shot when she opened that hotel room door, I reply, scrolling through Lisa's email. I'm just returning fire. The emails tell a story that's even more damning than the text messages. Lisa hasn't just been cheating, she's been planning. Messages to divorce attorneys, discussions about asset division, conversations with Darla about, quote, getting Victor out of the picture permanently. But the most interesting discovery is a series of emails between Lisa and her boss, Richard Hawthorne, about a property deal that seems suspiciously profitable. Lisa's been using inside information from the city planning office to buy properties just before they're rezoned for commercial development. It's not technically illegal, but it's definitely unethical, and it would be career suicide if it became public knowledge. She's been playing a longer game than I thought, I tell Gene, as I screenshot the relevant emails. This isn't just about Brandon. This is about setting herself up for a new life. What are you going to do with this information? I'm going to level the playing field. The first move is financial. Lisa thinks she's clever, moving money into accounts I don't know about, but she forgot that I handle all our tax paperwork. I know about every account, every investment, every asset we own. While she's been planning her escape, I've been quietly securing our joint finances. The construction business has been struggling, but not as much as I've let Lisa believe. I've been moving profits into a separate business account, telling Lisa we're barely breaking even, while actually building up a substantial cash reserve. It's not hiding assets, it's protecting them from someone who's been systematically planning to steal half of everything I've worked for. The second move is social. Lisa's built her reputation on being the perfect wife and mother, the successful real estate agent who has it all together. But reputations are fragile things, especially in a small town where everyone knows everyone else's business. I start with Brandon. His social media presence is his weakness. He posts constantly about his workouts, his car, his lifestyle. He's built a following of local fitness enthusiasts who see him as some kind of alpha male role model. It's pathetic, but it's also vulnerable. The steroid use is obvious to anyone who knows what to look for. The rapid muscle gain, the acne on his back, the mood swings that Paige has mentioned seeing when he visits Lisa. I don't have direct evidence, but I don't need it. I just need to plant seeds of doubt. An anonymous tip to the State Athletic Commission about a personal trainer using performance-enhancing drugs. A few carefully worded comments on his social media posts asking about his supplement routine. A printed article about steroid abuse left on the windshield of his car at the gym. Within a week, Brandon's online persona starts to crack. His followers begin asking uncomfortable questions. The gym where he works starts getting complaints. His boss at the dealership hears rumors about drug use and starts paying closer attention to his behavior. But the real masterpiece is the video. I follow Brandon to my old rental property, a house I've been renovating on the weekends, planning to flip it for extra income. It's isolated, no neighbors, perfect for what I have in mind. I send him a text from Lisa's phone. Emergency. Meet me at Victor's rental house. Something's wrong. Come alone. Brandon shows up within 20 minutes, proving that whatever else he might be, he's not particularly bright. He finds the front door unlocked and walks into what he thinks will be a romantic rescue scenario. Instead, he finds his gym bag torn apart, his protein supplements scattered across the floor, and his precious workout gear destroyed. But the real surprise is the GoPro camera I've hidden in the corner, recording everything. Brandon's reaction is everything I hoped for and more. He screams, he throws things, he punches the wall hard enough to bloody his knuckles. He calls Lisa's phone repeatedly, leaving increasingly unhinged voicemails. He kicks over a can of paint, covering his expensive sneakers in white latex. But the best part is when he starts talking to himself, pacing around the room and ranting about that psycho husband, and how he's going to show him what happens when you mess with Brandon Morrison. He threatens violence. He brags about sleeping with Lisa. He even admits to using steroids to maintain his edge. It's a 20-minute meltdown that reveals everything ugly about Brandon's character, and it's all captured in high-definition video. I upload the footage to YouTube with the title, "Local Fitness Influencer Has Epic Meltdown." I share it anonymously on every fitness forum and social media group in the area. I email the link to the local newspaper's gossip columnist. Within 48 hours, the video has 50,000 views. Brandon's reputation as a fitness role model is destroyed. His boss at the dealership fires him after customers start recognizing him as that crazy guy from the video. The gym revokes his membership and bans him from the premises. Lisa calls me, furious. "What did you do to Brandon?" "I didn't do anything to Brandon. Brandon did it to himself. I just gave him the opportunity." "You're destroying people's lives, Victor. I'm revealing who people really are." There's a difference. But Brandon is just the opening act. Lisa is the main event. The property deal emails are my nuclear option, but I don't want to use them yet. Instead, I focus on her professional reputation in more subtle ways. I create fake online reviews for some of her recent property sales. Nothing defamatory, just disappointed customers complaining about poor communication and unprofessional behavior. I make anonymous complaints to the state real estate board about ethical violations. I spread rumors through Mrs. Crane and the neighborhood gossip network about Lisa's inappropriate relationship with a client. The cumulative effect is devastating. Lisa's boss starts getting complaints from clients. Her sales numbers drop as potential customers choose other agents. The local real estate community, which is small and gossipy, starts whispering about her personal problems affecting her professional performance. Meanwhile, Paige's TikTok account has exploded in popularity. Her videos about family dysfunction have struck a nerve with teenagers dealing with their own parental trauma. She's got 50,000 followers now, and her posts about our family situation are getting hundreds of thousands of views. The irony is that Paige's social media success is the one good thing to come out of this mess. She's found her voice, built an audience, and started making money from sponsorship deals. In a weird way, our family's destruction is launching her career as an influencer. "Dad," she says one evening as we take out Chinese food in front of the television, "I know things are really messed up right now, but I want you to know I don't blame you for any of this." "You don't?" "Mom made her choice. She chose Brandon over our family. That's on her, not you." It's the first time in months that Paige and I have had a real conversation, and it reminds me why I'm fighting so hard to save something from the wreckage of my marriage. "What do you want to happen, Paige? Do you want me to try to work things out with your mother?" She considers this for a moment, twirling lo mein noodles around her chopsticks. "I want you to be happy, Dad, and I don't think you've been happy for a long time." "What about you? Where do you want to live when all this is over?" "With you, if that's okay." "Of course it's okay. It's more than okay." That night, I get a text from Lisa. "We need to talk. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., coffee shop on Main Street." I text back, "Fine, but I'm bringing documentation." "What kind of documentation?" "The kind that shows what you've really been up to for the past 7 months." There's a long pause before her response. "Victor, please, let's try to handle this like adults." "I am handling it like an adult, Lisa. That's why you're so scared." The next day, I arrive at the coffee shop early and choose a table near the window where Mrs. Crane and her gossip network can see everything. Lisa shows up 10 minutes late, looking haggard and stressed. The confident, polished real estate agent is gone, replaced by a woman who's starting to realize that her carefully laid plans are falling apart. "You look tired," I say as she sits down. "I wonder why." She orders a latte and stares at me across the table. "Victor, this has to stop. What you're doing to Brandon, what you're doing to me, it's not solving anything. It's solving everything. You want it out of our marriage? Fine. But you don't get to destroy my life and walk away with half of everything I've built. I'm not trying to destroy your life." I pull out my phone and show her the screenshots of her emails to divorce attorneys, the property deal information, the financial planning documents. Her face goes pale as she realizes how much I know. "You've been planning this for months, Lisa. Maybe years. The affair with Brandon was just the final step. You went through my private emails?" I went through our shared computer. Everything on there belongs to both of us, legally speaking. Lisa takes a sip of her latte, buying time to think. "What do you want, Victor?" I want you to understand that I'm not the same man you married 23 years ago. I'm not going to roll over and let you take everything I've worked for. So what's your proposal? Simple. You want a divorce? Fine. But it's going to be on my terms, not yours. You get half of the house value, minus the money you've already stolen from our joint accounts. You get half of the legitimate business assets, not including the accounts you don't know about. And you get to explain to Paige why you chose a steroid-abusing car salesman over your own family. And if I don't agree? I show her another screenshot, the property deal emails that would end her real estate career if they became public. Then things get much more complicated for everyone involved. Lisa stares at the phone screen for a long moment. You've changed, Victor. You used to be a good man. I used to be a naive man. There's a difference. She finishes her latte and stands up. I need time to think about this. You have 24 hours. After that, I start making phone calls to people who would be very interested in your business practices. As Lisa walks away, I notice Mrs. Crane watching from across the street, probably already composing the social media posts that will spread news of our confrontation throughout the neighborhood. The old Victor would have felt guilty about threatening his wife, about destroying Brandon's reputation, about turning our private problems into public entertainment. But the old Victor was married to a woman who loved him. The new Victor is just getting started. Lisa doesn't call within 24 hours. She doesn't call within 48 hours. By the third day, I realize she's not planning to negotiate. She's planning something else entirely. The revelation comes from an unexpected source, Paige, who's become surprisingly adept at social media intelligence gathering. Dad, you need to see this, she says, bursting into my home office with her phone. Look at Mom's Instagram story. The video is subtle, but telling. Lisa and Darla at some upscale restaurant in the city, celebrating something with champagne. The caption reads, "Sometimes you have to fight for what's yours." Hashtag new beginnings. Hashtag stronger together. What do you think they're celebrating? Paige asks. Nothing good for us. I study the video more carefully. In the background, I can see part of a business card on the table. I screenshot the image and zoom in until I can make out the name. Patricia Vance, family law attorney. A quick Google search reveals that Patricia Vance is known for representing high net worth women in contentious divorces. Her specialty is asset protection and character assassination. Her fee schedule starts at $50,000. She's bringing in the big guns, I tell Jean later that evening at the Anchor. What kind of big guns? The kind that cost more than I make in a year. Lisa's not just planning to divorce me. She's planning to destroy me. Jean pours himself a whiskey and leans against the bar. So what's your move? I need to know what she's really planning, and I think I know how to find out. The plan requires patience, timing, and a little bit of breaking and entering. Though Jean assures me that using a key to enter a property you own isn't technically breaking and entering. Lisa has been staying at Darla's house, but she still has clothes and personal items at our place. She's been coming by during the day while I'm at work to collect things. What she doesn't know is that I've installed a small surveillance camera in our bedroom, hidden inside an old digital clock. But more importantly, I've been tracking her car with a GPS device that Jean helped me install. It's not illegal, the car is registered in both our names, and I have every right to know where my property is being taken. The GPS data reveals an interesting pattern. Lisa's been making regular trips to an address I don't recognize, always on weekday mornings. Always for exactly 2 hours. When I drive by the location, I discover it's a small office building that houses several businesses, including Patricia Vance's law firm. But Lisa's also been visiting another address, a luxury apartment complex on the other side of town. According to the GPS data, she's been there multiple times, usually in the evenings, usually staying for several hours. That's not Darla's address, Paige confirms when I show her the location on Google Maps. Darla lives in that townhouse development near the mall. Then whose apartment is this? The answer comes when I stake out the building and see Brandon's damaged Charger in the parking lot. Lisa hasn't been staying at Darla's house. She's been living with Brandon in his apartment. Darla has been providing cover, letting Lisa use her address for mail and legal documents while she plays house with her boyfriend. The deception runs deeper than I thought. Lisa isn't just cheating. She's been constructing an elaborate web of lies to hide her true living situation, from the courts, from Paige, and from me. But the most shocking discovery comes when I follow Lisa to a meeting at a coffee shop across town. She's not meeting with her lawyer or with Darla. She's meeting with Richard Hawthorne, her boss. And they're not discussing real estate. I park across the street and use Jean's binoculars to watch their conversation. The body language is intimate, familiar. Richard touches Lisa's hand across the table. Lisa leans in close when she talks. They share a dessert like lovers, not like boss and employee. Son of a bitch, I mutter, taking photos with my phone zoom lens. Lisa hasn't just been cheating with Brandon. She's been cheating with her boss, too. The property deals, the inside information, the financial planning, it's all been part of a larger scheme involving Richard Hawthorne. I call Jean immediately. I need you to run a background check on someone. Victor, I told you I can't. Richard Hawthorne, Lisa's boss. I think he's been involved in this from the beginning. Jean sighs. What exactly do you think you're going to find? I don't know. But Lisa's not smart enough to plan all this by herself. She's had help. The background check reveals that Richard Hawthorne has been married 3 times. Each divorce followed a similar pattern. Affair with an employee, elaborate financial planning, asset protection strategies that left his ex-wives with minimal settlements. Lisa isn't Richard's first victim. She's his latest mark. She thinks she's playing him, I tell Jean. But he's playing her. And when this is all over, she's going to end up with nothing. So what are you going to do about it? I'm going to accelerate the timeline. The confrontation happens at the Lakeside Community Center during the monthly town meeting. It's a public venue, lots of witnesses, and Lisa can't avoid it without looking suspicious. I arrive early and set up Jean's portable PA system, ostensibly for my presentation about the proposed zoning changes that affect my construction business. What I'm really doing is preparing for the most public divorce proceeding in the town's history. Lisa arrives with Darla, both dressed professionally and projecting confidence. They don't notice me adjusting the microphone settings or testing the wireless connection to my phone. The meeting starts with routine business, budget approvals, permit discussions, community event planning. I wait patiently for my turn to speak, watching Lisa scroll through her phone and whisper to Darla. When Mayor Henderson calls my name, I approach the podium with a folder full of documents and a smile that probably looks more predatory than friendly. Thank you, Mayor Henderson. I'm here tonight to discuss transparency in local government and business practices. Lisa looks up from her phone, suddenly alert. As many of you know, I've been a resident of this community for over 20 years. I've built my business here, raised my family here, and contributed to the local economy. But recently, I've discovered some troubling information about corruption in our local real estate market. The room goes quiet. Lisa's face has gone pale. I have evidence of insider trading involving city planning information. I have documentation of unethical business practices, and I have proof that certain individuals have been using their positions of trust to manipulate property values for personal gain. I pull out the printed emails and hold them up for everyone to see. These documents show a pattern of corruption that goes to the highest levels of our local real estate industry. Lisa stands up abruptly. This is inappropriate. This isn't the proper forum for— Sit down, Lisa, I say into the microphone, my voice carrying clearly through the room. You'll get your turn to speak. The mayor looks confused. Mr. Kellerman, if you have evidence of criminal activity, you should take it to the proper authorities. Oh, I will. But first, I think the community deserves to know what's been happening in their own backyard. I connect my phone to the PA system and play one of the recorded phone calls between Lisa and Richard Hawthorne, discussing their plan to buy properties, before the zoning changes are announced publicly. The room erupts in murmurs and whispers. Lisa tries to leave, but Darla grabs her arm, whispering urgently in her ear. That's not all, I continue. I also have evidence of adultery, fraud, and conspiracy to commit financial crimes. I play another recording, this one of Lisa and Brandon discussing how to hide assets from the divorce proceedings. By now, the entire room is in chaos. People are taking videos with their phones, the mayor is banging his gavel, and Lisa is shouting that the recordings are illegal and inadmissible. You're right, Lisa, I say, turning off the PA system. These recordings probably won't hold up in court, but they don't need to. Everyone in this room now knows exactly what kind of person you are. Lisa pushes past Darla and storms toward the exit, but Brandon Morrison chooses that moment to burst through the doors. He's clearly been drinking, his face is flushed with anger, and he's shouting something about that psycho husband. The confrontation that follows is everything I could have hoped for and more. Brandon sees Lisa trying to leave and grabs her arm. You said you were going to handle this. You said he wouldn't be a problem. Lisa tries to pull away. Brandon, not here. Not now. When then? When are you going to tell him to back off? When are you going to make him stop destroying my life? The entire room is watching now, phones recording, voices murmuring. This is better than reality television. I never promised you anything, Lisa shouts back. This whole thing was your idea. My idea. You're the one who said we should get rid of him permanently. The room goes dead silent. Even the mayor stops banging his gavel. Brandon realizes what he's just said, but it's too late. The damage is done, and it's all been recorded by dozens of phones. Get rid of me permanently? I ask, approaching them slowly. That's an interesting phrase, Brandon. What exactly did you have in mind? Brandon tries to backpedal. I didn't mean... That's not what... Lisa, tell him that's not what we meant. But Lisa is staring at Brandon like she's never seen him before. You idiot, she whispers. You complete idiot. Darla, who's been silent through all of this, suddenly speaks up. Actually, Lisa, I think we need to talk about what you really meant. Everyone turns to look at Darla, including me. There's something in her voice, something cold and calculating, that doesn't match her usual mousy demeanor. Darla, shut up, Lisa hisses. No, I don't think I will. Darla stands up, smoothing down her cardigan. You see, Victor, your wife has been planning this for a lot longer than 7 months. She's been planning it for almost 2 years. The room is completely silent now. Everyone's straining to hear Darla's words. It started when Richard Hawthorne told her about the upcoming zoning changes. Lisa realized she could make a lot of money if she could get control of your construction business and your property assets. But she needed a way to get you out of the picture without splitting everything 50-50 in a divorce. Darla, I'm warning you, Lisa starts. So she came up with a plan. Seduce Brandon, make you jealous, push you into doing something stupid that would give her grounds for a favorable divorce settlement. Maybe even get you arrested for domestic violence or stalking. My blood runs cold as I realize what Darla is saying. But when that didn't work, when you turned out to be smarter than she expected, she started talking about more permanent solutions, ways to make sure you wouldn't be a problem anymore. Brandon is backing toward the door now, his face white with panic. I never agreed to anything permanent. I thought we were just talking. Were you just talking when you researched Victor's daily routine? Were you just talking when you asked about his life insurance policies? Were you just talking when you suggested that construction accidents happen all the time? The room explodes in shocked gasps and angry voices. Someone shouts, "Call the police!" Mayor Henderson is banging his gavel frantically. But I'm focused on Lisa, who's standing frozen in the middle of the chaos, her carefully constructed world collapsing around her. Is it true, Lisa? I ask quietly. Were you planning to have me killed? She doesn't answer, but the look in her eyes tells me everything I need to know. Brandon makes a run for the door, but Jean appears out of nowhere and tackles him to the ground. The ex-cop still has good instincts and better reflexes. Nobody's leaving until the police get here, Jean announces, sitting on Brandon's back, while the younger man struggles underneath him. Darla is still talking, spilling secrets like a broken dam. Richard Hawthorne put her up to most of it. He's done this before, you know. Found desperate women, convinced them to eliminate their husbands, then swooped in to take control of the assets. Lisa thought she was using him, but he was using her. Why are you telling us this? I asked Darla. She smiles, and for the first time, I see something sharp and dangerous in her expression. Because Lisa ruined my marriage 15 years ago. She seduced my husband, convinced him to leave me, then dumped him when she got bored. I've been waiting for the perfect opportunity to return the favor. The police arrive just as Lisa makes her own run for the door. She doesn't get far. Miss Crane trips her with a strategically placed purse, sending Lisa sprawling across the community center floor. As the officers sort through the chaos, taking statements and making arrests, I find myself standing in the middle of the room, surrounded by the wreckage of my marriage and the shocked faces of my neighbors. Victor? Mayor Henderson approaches me cautiously. Are you all right? I look around the room. At Brandon being handcuffed, at Lisa arguing with the officers, at Darla giving her statement with obvious satisfaction, at the dozens of phones still, recording everything. You know what, Mayor? I say, loosening my tie. I think I'm better than I've been in years. 3 weeks later, the annual Maple Street block party is in full swing, and I'm the unofficial guest of honor. Not because anyone planned it that way, but because I've become something of a local celebrity since the community center incident. The video footage has been viewed over 2 million times on various social media platforms, and I've been interviewed by 3 different news outlets about the Lakeside conspiracy. That's what the media is calling it now. The plot involving Lisa, Richard Hawthorne, and Brandon Morrison to commit insurance fraud through arranged accidents. The investigation is ongoing, but the evidence is substantial enough that all 3 are facing serious criminal charges. I'm manning the grill at the block party, flipping burgers and accepting congratulations from neighbors who previously barely knew my name. It's surreal, but not unpleasant. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm part of the community instead of just living in it. Dad, you're becoming a social media influencer, Paige says, approaching with her phone out. She's been documenting the block party for her TikTok followers, who are fascinated by the normal family life content after months of dysfunction drama. Mrs. Peterson wants to take a selfie with you. Mrs. Peterson is 87 years old. Does she even know what a selfie is? She's got more Instagram followers than you do. Jean appears at my elbow with 2 beers. How you holding up, celebrity? It's weird. A month ago, these people thought I was the crazy husband who keyed someone's car. Now I'm the hero who exposed a criminal conspiracy. Funny how perspective changes when all the facts come out. Mayor Henderson approaches the grill with a nervous smile. Victor, I hate to bother you during the party, but I wanted to discuss something with you. If it's about running for city council, the answer is no. Actually, it's about the construction contract for the new community center. Given recent events, we're reconsidering our vendor relationships, and your company's reputation for integrity has become very important to us. I flip a burger and consider this. The community center contract would be the biggest job my company has ever handled. Easily enough work to keep us busy for the next 2 years. I'll submit a bid next week, I tell him. Excellent. And Victor? I'm sorry we didn't see what was happening sooner. If we had been more vigilant about monitoring the real estate transactions. Don't apologize, Mayor. Sometimes the best education comes from the hardest lessons. As Henderson walks away, Gene shakes his head. You're handling this better than I expected. Most people would be bitter about the whole thing. Why should I be bitter? I got everything I wanted. Everything? I gesture around the block party, neighbors laughing, kids playing, the smell of barbecue in the air. I got my life back. I got my daughter's respect. I got a community that actually knows who I am. And I got rid of a wife who was literally planning to kill me. That's a pretty good trade-off. Paige appears again, this time with Mrs. Crane in tow. The neighborhood gossip queen is holding a smartphone and grinning like she's won the lottery. Victor, dear, I simply must get a video with you for my Facebook page. My followers are dying to hear about your experience. Mrs. Crane, you realize you're the one who started all this, right? If you hadn't filmed me keying Brandon's car. Oh, honey, I've been filming everything that happens on this street for years. You just happened to do something worth sharing. She holds up her phone. Now, tell my followers what it feels like to be vindicated. I look into the camera, thinking about everything that's happened over the past few months. It feels like taking off a mask you didn't realize you were wearing. Mrs. Crane beams. Perfect. That's going to get so many likes. As the afternoon wears on, the block party takes on the atmosphere of a celebration. Not just a community celebration, but a personal one. People keep approaching me with stories about their own experiences with Lisa's real estate practices, with Brandon's aggressive behavior at the gym, with Richard Hawthorne's reputation for shady deals. You did us all a favor, says Tom Martinez, who lives 3 blocks over. My wife was thinking about using Lisa as our agent. Dodged a bullet there. Lisa tried to convince us to sell our house last year, adds Jennifer Walsh. Said the market was perfect, but now I realize she probably just wanted the commission and the inside information about our property. The stories pile up throughout the day, painting a picture of a woman who had been manipulating and deceiving people throughout the community for years. I wasn't her first victim. I was just the one who finally fought back. As the sun starts to set, the party begins winding down. Families pack up their chairs and coolers, kids are called in from the street, and the cleanup crew starts collecting trash. I'm cleaning the grill when Darla approaches. She looks different now, more confident, less mousy. The revelation of her long-term revenge plot has transformed her from a background character into someone with agency and purpose. Victor, I wanted to thank you, she says. Thank me. You're the one who exposed the whole conspiracy. But you created the opportunity. If you hadn't pushed Lisa into a corner, she never would have revealed her true plans. I might have waited another 15 years for the perfect moment. Can I ask you something, Darla? How long were you planning this? She smiles, and there's something cold in her expression. Since the day Lisa destroyed my marriage, I've been patient, careful, waiting for her to make a mistake big enough to destroy her completely. That's impressive and slightly terrifying. Lisa underestimated both of us, Victor. She thought you were too weak to fight back, and she thought I was too insignificant to matter. She was wrong on both counts. As Darla walks away, I realize that I'm not the only one who's been wearing a mask. The entire community has been full of people pretending to be something they're not, hiding their true motivations and capabilities behind facades of normalcy. The difference is that I've finally taken my mask off. Jean helps me load the grill into my truck as the last of the partygoers head home. So what's next for you, Victor? Next? Now that you're free, now that you've got your life back, now that you're the town hero, what are you going to do with it? I look around at the quiet street, at the houses where my neighbors are settling in for the evening, at the community that has finally accepted me as one of their own. I'm going to live it, I say. For the first time in 23 years, I'm going to live my actual life, instead of the life someone else planned for me. And if Lisa gets out of jail someday, if she comes back, she won't. Even if the charges don't stick, her reputation is destroyed. Richard Hawthorne is facing federal fraud charges. Brandon is looking at conspiracy charges, and Lisa is going to be lucky if she doesn't spend the next 10 years in prison. But if she does come back? I close the truck tailgate and look at Jean seriously. Then she'll discover that I'm not the same man she married. I'm not even the same man who keyed Brandon's car 6 months ago. I'm someone completely different now. Different how? Dangerous. Jean studies my face for a moment. You know, Victor, I think you might be right about that. As I drive home through the quiet streets, I pass the real estate office where Lisa used to work. The building is dark, with a for lease sign in the window. Richard Hawthorne's business collapsed within days of his arrest, taking down several other agents who had been involved in his schemes. I pass the car dealership where Brandon used to work. His replacement is a middle-aged woman with sensible shoes and an honest smile. The Charger that Brandon was so proud of is probably in a police impound lot somewhere, evidence in a criminal case. I pass Darla's townhouse, where lights are on in every window. She's probably planning her next move, her next target, her next long-term revenge plot. I make a mental note to stay on Darla's good side. Finally, I pull into my driveway. My driveway. Not Lisa's, not ours, but mine. The house is quiet, but it's a comfortable quiet now instead of the tense silence that characterized the last years of my marriage. Paige is in the living room, editing her latest TikTok video on her laptop. She's become something of an internet sensation, the teenager who documented her family's implosion and came out stronger on the other side. How'd the party go? She asks without looking up from her screen. Good. Really good. Mayor Henderson offered me the community center contract. That's awesome, Dad. You deserve it. What are you working on? A video about moving forward after family trauma. My followers have been asking for advice about dealing with toxic parents. And what advice are you giving them? Paige looks up from her laptop, and I see something in her expression that reminds me of myself. A hardness that wasn't there 6 months ago. A strength that was forged in the fire of betrayal and disappointment. I'm telling them that sometimes the people who are supposed to love you will try to destroy you instead. And when that happens, you have two choices. Let them succeed, or become someone they can't touch. That's pretty wise for a 17-year-old. I learned from the best. I kiss the top of her head and head upstairs to my bedroom. The bedroom I no longer have to share with someone who is plotting my death. I change into comfortable clothes and sit on the edge of the bed, looking around at the space that finally feels like mine again. On the nightstand is a framed photo of Paige at her high school graduation. Next to it is a business card from a reporter who wants to interview me for a book about suburban crime. Next to that is a letter from a lawyer representing 3 other men whose wives had been involved with Richard Hawthorne's schemes. I'm not the only victim, but I'm the only one who fought back successfully. My phone buzzes with a text message from an unknown number. You think you've won, but this isn't over. L. I stare at the message for a moment, then delete it without responding. Lisa is in jail, awaiting trial. Her assets frozen, her reputation destroyed, her future uncertain. She can send all the threatening messages she wants. They're just words from someone who no longer has any power over my life. I walk to the window and look out at the neighborhood where I've lived for over 2 decades. The houses are dark now, families settling in for the night. Everyone's safe in their own little worlds. But I know the truth now. I know that behind every normal facade, there are secrets and schemes and hidden motivations. I know that the people you trust most are often the ones planning to hurt you. I know that sometimes the only way to survive is to become more ruthless than your enemies. The old Victor would have found this knowledge depressing. The new Victor finds it liberating. I turn away from the window and catch my reflection in the mirror across the room. The man looking back at me is someone I barely recognize. Leaner, harder, more confident. Someone who's learned that the world is full of predators and that the choice isn't between being a predator or being prey. The choice is between being a predator or being dead. I smile at my reflection, and the smile that looks back is sharp enough to cut glass. They called me a villain when this all started. They said I was crazy, unstable, dangerous. Turns out, the mask fit better than I ever expected.